welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. As simple as ever, it would help if I add myself to the stage, don't you think? Hello, brothers and sisters. It's Sunday, right? Pretty sure that's the day, the energies of today. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fresh. I've had an adventure here in the DC area today, and I'm excited to get started. So, brothers and sisters, as you stroll in, right, do us a favor. Remember to hit the like. Nothing wrong with sharing a little positivity, right? That's what my hope is. My genuine desire is just to brighten your day. My day's already shining, man. So here, I'm going to drop the link here pretty soon, kind of chill out. We'll talk about some things, but the thumbnail is the inspiration today. And the background of this is the image and the reminder of peace. Peace is the path. Peace is the purpose. Peace is the destination. It's what we all want. And today, a Tal quote, quoting myself yet again, man. Economics and politics. I'm going to discuss today how that is the religion of money. See, the religious reverence that people show towards money, it's resulted in a war that's at war with itself due to the choices of those who have wealth and authority. Donald Trump is a name that comes to my mind when they talk about those things. So what I know is we, and Jack Talcott here in Washington, D.C., we are here to break traditions, to bring forth the new ways of our kingdom here on earth, where Christ is king. For me, that's today. It's the here and now. Christ, his likeness, his commandments of love, they rule over me. And I joyfully abide. I joyfully serve. Because I've tried the other ways, and really the way of Jesus, it's the only way to be. The logic supports this conclusion in so many ways. So don't be afraid, ever. Don't be afraid to be like Jesus. Don't be afraid to be brave. Don't be afraid to have faith. Don't be afraid to love. Don't be afraid to forgive. Don't be afraid to be grateful, even when everyone else tells you you should be angry. Okay? It's your life to live. You can do it any way you want, but there's one example. There's truly one example for us all. It's part of the divine unfoldment of history and time, consciousness, spirituality. It's all perfect. Our God is so perfect. That's the mystery of life. Once you recognize and accept that as a fact, our God is so perfect. I'm grateful to know the little bit I know because it's all by the grace of God. Sincerely, I'm feeling truly chill. I had a beautiful day today, thanks to our friend Barney over at Midlife Bro Logic. He gave me a heads up that there was a happening today. Oh, dude, it just ended like 2 minutes ago. Here. There was a, is this coming up? Yeah, there was a happening at the Capitol with Senator Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries on the steps of the Capitol building. So our friend Barney, Midlife Bro Logic, he gave me the heads up on that. And so I drove down that way, found a place to park, and spent a couple of hours at that assembly. I didn't get a chance to speak, but I got at least one email, one connection. I'll follow up with a little bit later. After all, I'm here in Washington, D.C. to try and make a difference. So if anyone knows anyone or is interested in trying, and you've got some ideas, let's see what we can get done. This is our lifetime to live, right? And these economics, politics, the religions, the traditions, right? Because that's what those things are, is traditions. Whether you go to a religious church and you go through proper worship and ceremony, it's a tradition. It's taught by other people, passed down, right? So these traditions of economics and politics, that's all it is. It's a tradition. We can follow it if we want, or we can change it if we want. But what I've learned, saw this first with my views on religions. When you go through the tradition and the ceremony, but you don't really have a heart connected to what you're doing, you're just doing a dance. So a lot of the church ceremonies are a dance. It's theatrics. That's what politics is. It's a dance. It's theatrics. People are saying they're doing things, and then they're doing other things. And really, nothing's getting done, nothing healthy. That's what this assembly was earlier today, is because apparently there's a budget discussion there in the White House, and the Republican budget is going to cut all the spending on Medicare and school lunches and such like this. And, the thought I was thinking based on some of the words, because they pointed out that these budgets, they represent morals. They represent values. When the government determines a budget, when an organization determines a budget, when a household determines a budget, it reveals their priorities. It reveals their values. So I suggest that mankind has been deceived by the tools themselves, right? A budget is a tool to keep order so that you don't, overexpend and you don't run out. But the budget is it's a management tool. People and governments and corporations, they've been allowing budgets to control the choices. See, and if you start limiting choices based on budgets, you'll drive yourself to do some evil things. Look at America. Look at many of these corporations. They're too big to fail, right? So the hardworking Americans got to pay their fair share and their taxes and all this crap. So the billionaire class and the owning class can continue living their lives of luxury. Is that what you want? You want to keep going along to get along, continuing the traditions of the past, the American way. See, at this talk today, I did hear some of the representatives discussing. I tell you what, let me bring in the positive, right? Found a place to park nearby. It was a beautiful day here in Washington, D.C., upwards of 70 plus degrees, very comfortable. Little light breeze going, and it's springtime, so it seems there's a lot of greenness in the area. It's beautiful. So the event today at on the steps of the Capitol building, Technically, it's historical. You know, a sitting senator, Senator Booker, Cory Booker, he spent his birthday today. Happy birthday to him. Spent his birthday today with others discussing the upcoming budget that's, you know, I guess Congress is, everyone's returning to session next week. So by the way, find it in your mind in just a couple of minutes, do a quick Google search or whatever you want. Call your senators, right? Open the doors up. There's a radical guy you know of, me, who's here in Washington, D.C., who really gives a crap about ending wars. And, you know, I really won't rest until I get a chance to try and talk to someone who might be willing to do something about this. Ending wars, facing the lies, breaking free of the religion of money, the religion of economics that's shown through the practice of economics and politics. It's got the world confused. So back to where I was there with the others gathered at the steps of the Capitol building. And Cory Booker, he recently did like a 25-hour talk on the floor of Congress for I can't think of the word, but you know, the delay and such. So he's doing some stuff, kind of standing out a little bit. He is making history, so good on him. So today at the historical day, there was a number of congressmen and women and different organizational leaders. President of the AFL-CIO was there, and many others showed up and spoke. Maybe had I been more on the ball, maybe I'd have got in front of more of the individuals and introduced myself, but I was with the moment and I was enjoying the moment of today. And actually listening to some of the speeches, I tell you what, I was moved to tears. More than once, on a couple of occasions. I cry a lot, though. That's kind of how I am, especially when it's stuff that affects my heart, like children going hungry. The disgrace of poverty that exists here in America, it saddens me. It really does. And that's where the focus was today. But in addition to the sick sadness of poverty here in America, there's true humanitarian crises happening outside, all around this world. So I was moved to tears a couple of times today from the emotional speeches. And really, the purpose of the message for whoever was tuning in is it's time. It's time for a call to action. Reach out to your senators, and whether you like them or not, tell them what you think. Tell them specifically what you want. It's time for the government to start fearing the people a little bit, not fear of violence, but fear of accountability, knowing that they're not going to get away with the shit anymore. That's the idea. My way of explaining it anyway. That wasn't his. So they're on the steps of the Capitol building with the senators and such, and they kept talking about how wonderful America is. Truly, it is. No taking that away. But they were connecting capitalism and democracy together. And see, that has been part of the deception. I joined the military, served the military as a kid because I thought I was going to help spread democracy around the world, help protect democracy as a capitalist. But the more I think about those two things, they are oppositional forces. See, democracy is the voice of the masses, whereas capitalism limits the voice to those with the money, the owning class, so to say. So it's a big deception. You and me, the world, we've all been playing in this imaginary game of risk. Real life wars are happening. All sorts of wars, all sorts of imagined enemies. Why? Because violence and oppression and fear, man, those drive up profits. They drive up all sorts of profits when people are afraid, man. And then they get desperate. They start voting in idiots who make them feel safe. The idiot I'm talking about is Donald Trump. So many people think he's the savior. And he might be. Let me help him. That's help me to help him. Help me to help him help you. How about that? If you live in America or in the world with Donald Trump as the president, the world will be safer and better off when he understands what I understand about God, about love, about leadership. See, that is what Christ showed. The amount of people who would prefer to be sheep rather than the shepherds kind of blows me away. In the world of today, brothers and sisters, I'm calling out the Christians. It's time for us to rise. Stop pretending to be a helpless sheep when you're really a wolf. You're a beast sent here to do the work of God. Praise God. Harpole, thank you, my friend. Thank you. You know, I need a crash course in a lot of things. There's a lot of improvement available with me, including the eyebrows. I was looking at those again today too, Jeeps. I actually was going to get a trim and try and clean up a little bit today. And especially I'm hopeful for tomorrow. Tomorrow starts the business week again, and so we'll see what happens. Hey, there is an extra bed here. For those who are wanting to support, we'll figure it out. Dude, I'm here for at least a few more days here at this particular hotel. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what the future might bring. I did get my email sent. I don't know which one you're talking about, but I did get an email sent. I reached out to the various organizations. I did get a kind of response, I think, but I got to follow up and see what happens. Yeah, the beard oil. Someone recommended beard oil to me a while ago, and I understand why. But I think I left it in the bathroom on the counter. I don't think I grabbed it. Barbershop. I was just going to do a great clips or something, but maybe a barbershop experience would be a better idea, right? This adventure, guys. Holy cows, man. This adventure we're living. I never ever thought my life would bring me to this. My eyebrows are just healthy. I've said it. My eyebrows are like chasing my hairline away. My hairline got scared when the eyebrows got all bushy, and so I'm trying to make peace between the two. my dad's got the big bushy eyebrows too, man. It's a family trait, I guess. Hey, and seriously, for those who do wish to join, the link is pinned, I think. You're welcome to join. And if you haven't yet, do remember to hit the like. We'll see what the future brings. Oh, back to some values, some thoughts, right? Space. The idea of space. allowing your mind to wrap around the idea and the concept of space, of emptiness, of nothingness, in the absence, right? In that absence, it can feel, scary. You can feel all alone. You can feel insignificance. But it's kind of the idea is to align yourself with the nothingness that is eternally there. Because God is the no thing from which all things are sustained, right? And built. It's an incredible process, incredible creation that you and I are a part of. We are experiencing the expansion of life and consciousness in this particular timeline. And I have a theory that timelines are separated by subtle separations, but it's based on vibrational energies, because everything is frequency and energy. Frequencies and energies are composing you, composing me in the present, and it's always the present. When we drift off into the past or into the future, that's just a mind trip, right? People get lost in their minds, and they get separated from their hearts. Well, the heart is always here in the present moment, living with you. And in the present moment is the first person. The first person of the present time is always God. God is in the present, the future, and the past. So stay present with God and your heart, and allow your heart to lead you forward, to lead your mind. Because this world has taught us to live according to mind, according to memory and schedule. And people are detached from their heart of hearts. They're going through the motions of life, pretending to be happy, pretending to be loyal, pretending to be all sorts of different things, but they're lying. And there's no lying. There's no lying with God. There's no lying with love. And if you're lying, you've missed the point of who you are. You're here to be true. You're here to be naturally who you are. But you only think you know who you are until the moment happens. I thought I knew who I was as a bulk mail technician. It's kind of a know-it-all at work at the post office. I knew all the regulations. I knew all the forms. I knew all the requirements. I was a classroom instructor as well, so I was kind of a know-it-all. I tried not to be bossy, but boy, was I emotional. God, I'd yell at people. I lived a life of rule and obedience and very strict control over me. So I thought I was a fool. I made my life much more difficult than it needed to be. Why? Because I lacked faith. I lacked faith in me. I lacked faith in me. I lacked faith in the world. I didn't trust in anyone or anything for a long time. And man, that sucked. Because when you don't trust anyone, you create a life where you're all alone. And I've spent most of my life alone. And then I learned how to trust myself. Others pushed me away. So I got to learn how to trust myself more. I fucking love me these days. I really do. I know there's still lots of room for improvement with this Jackie boy. But I know when that partner comes into my life, dude, she's going to be amazing. I can't wait to introduce you to her too. Once I meet her. But when she comes along into my life, another partner in crime, joining my adventures to change this world forever. Well, this is the before pictures, right? This is like post before. So there was like an older version of me that was like, oh golly, 65, 75 pounds fatter. I was a lot heavier, but I also had more muscle back then too, admittedly. But so there was an old version of me that was more out of shape, complained a lot, was pretty negative most of the time. I was kind of, in hindsight, I was kind of like Eeyore-ish. Okay, well, even this is good, it's something bad's gonna happen. I was kind of like that mindset. um, so there was the old version of me, and this is the new version of me. But this version of me is an old version, okay? Because I have goals of continuing my transformation. Actually, once I get a foot in the door towards, we're going to make some differences. We're going to end wars and we're going to start working towards reform. Well, I'll be working with other people professionally, so to say, in that aspect. And then I'll work with other people as well to help me get in shape. I'll improve my nutrition, I'll improve my exercise. God, I feel better just thinking about getting better. Yes, man. Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Man, back in the old days here in America, I survived the obesity epidemic. So much food and sugar. People couldn't help themselves. We all got fat. And then we thought that was a mistake. So then we tried different. But, back in the good old days, holy shit, life was different. I did. I walked through snowstorms to get to school. I don't remember if it was uphill or not, but I remember riding my bike to school and having to push the bike uphill, and that was a big fucking hill, Northport. I'm getting senile, man. Maybe I am. Maybe I am getting senile and old. I don't know. I guess I better get on this shit quick. I do clean up nice, actually, I think. I think I got pretty eyes, and I think when I clean up, I clean up pretty well. And I did bring I forgot the suits and the ties, but I brought some dress shirts with me too. So should I get, some arrangements and invitations, I can still look relatively nice. This life, space. I was bringing up space for a purpose. There's peace in space. That's the whole point of meditation, is to escape the bindings of the being into the infiniteness of the spirit. That's the idea of you, to release you, sacrifice you, allow you to go to the cross, allow it to be done. Allow your suffering to end. Be one with God, one with love from now on, and seek to invite and seek God to perfect you, whatever that means. I don't know what perfection means. I just know when it's not. When things aren't perfect, they get a little hairy, a little scary, right? Sometimes they hurt. So I seek to avoid those things and just align myself with the greatness of God. It's always there. It's just a matter of remembering it. Space. Allow yourself the space in your life to heal. Allow yourself the space to give yourself permission. Break yourself away from you so that you're separated from you so you can be objective with you and honest with you without worrying about hurting your feelings or upsetting you. Create space with you for yourself to be strong. Create space with you to allow your mind and heart to see things from different perspectives. That is a very important skill. Allowing your mind to view, right? To actually witness and consider all things, including you, from a different perspective. Because God contains all perspectives. So align with God, the all-knowing. That would mean you look for blind spots, not try to create blind spots. No, I'm not looking at that. No, I'm not listening to that. That's childish and immature and foolish. It's absolutely foolish. If God reveals something, information, an experience, an event, it's information, right? If something is revealed to you, accept it. Even if it's bad news, even if it's hurt, it's better to be honest and right, correct, right, than to live a lie. It's better to feel the pain of betrayal than to live with someone who's lying to you. It's better to know what is true. It always is. The truth is how you know God. Well, you can know God in many, many ways. I found God through the truth of my life. Things happened in my life that were so unbelievable. It defied logic. It defied reason. It had to be based on something beyond my comprehension. Forces that made things happen. I had to realize that there was, in some situations, no matter what I said, no matter what I did, there was no way these people could understand me. I'm confident of that. It was like I was speaking to robots or AI, but poorly programmed AI. But then I realized, holy shit, the world is nuts. Go back and watch some of my live streams. Seriously, dude. You pay attention to that just as a natural observer. Don't pick sides, but just pay attention and wonder, what is going on, man? What is really going on in the bigger picture? Because people are nuts, dude. People are absolutely insane with their patterns of self-centeredness and selfishness, and they're downright rude to each other. It blows my mind, man. But it's so simple and obvious. You know why everyone does that? Because we're all just big kids. We are. We're all just big, dumb kids who spent more time on Earth. We're all still growing up. We're all still figuring things out. We're all still, kind of dumb in our own ways. Just because we've been around for a few years doesn't mean we have all the answers. Just because things worked one way at one time doesn't mean they're all going to be the same. This is a partial truth, brother, but it's a partial not as well. We were born into a hell realm. Yes. For what purpose? To overcome hell. To enjoy the hell out of your life. That's why we're here. You're not here to succumb to hell. The hell of lies, the hell of deception, the hell of manipulation, the hell of confusion, the hell of giving up. Whoo, baby. I've lived through those hells. The hell of despair, the hell of shame, the hell of guilt, I've been there. I've done that. Today, wherever I go, I walk in and with the kingdom of heaven as an ambassador here to serve the King of the earth, Jesus. I serve God and Christ here on earth by serving God's children. What do I want to serve God's children? Wisdom and love. I want God's children, those who come into my life, I hope they grow as a result of our experience together. And they is you. I hope you can grow from our experience together. That's how I serve God. That's how I serve God's children, is by serving you, whoever you are. And so we are the light that has been sent into the darkness. And I encourage you, I invite you, love the light. Stop loving the fear. Stop loving the problems. Stop loving the fights. Stop loving the punishments. Stop loving the darkness. That's the message. Love the light. Become the light. The light is you. Be you. Praise God, man. It's a beautiful day in the hell realm. Won't you be mine? Won't you be my Savior? See, that I think is the idea as well. God created each of us to save ourselves and each other. We're not in this alone. We're all in this together. So let's look past our differences to find the similarities. And I truly trust and believe we all want the world to be better. Better starts with you. It starts here and now. If you give yourself space, if you give yourself the space to change from your old ways of thinking and allow yourself a new paradigm, a new direction, a new focus of thought, not to the devastating failures, not to things getting worse, not to the evil winning, give that shit up. Turn to the light. Start imagining in your mind victories, achievements, growth, fulfillment, explorations, discoveries, all sorts of adventures. Start placing your mind into those things and watch your body follow. Place your mind into the things and the experiences that you want your heart and your spirit to encounter. And with a mind focused with faith, you bring in the energies of achievement so that you actually feel and embody the achievement, the success, the relationship, the wealth, the health, whatever it is your heart wants you to want. Bring your mind and your heart together. It is the power of prayer. The universe is created for you to succeed. For me to succeed. I have. I've received success in my life already, and I've achieved many things regularly, and I continue to watch myself achieving more things. Why? Because I no longer live for Jack Talcott. He's a pretty cool guy. I encourage you, get to know him, you know? He's a pretty fun dude. He talks about God a lot and love a lot. And until wars end, he'll be talking about ending wars a lot. But I no longer really live as that. This is a vessel. It's a costume. It's a character that God has me acting through. Just like your body, your character is a character, right? Your personality is a character that God is acting through. What we bring into this world through our thoughts, our words, our deeds, what we bring into this world is important. We're responsible for all of it. It's a glorious relationship, is the way I can picture it, between the intelligence and the purpose of the Almighty. There's a relationship between that and you, me, who we are. We've got a relationship between ourselves and then the everything. And the everything is God. God is within you. God is within me. God is where everything is. It's what keeps everything, everything. It's a glorious knowing. Here, I know these words may not make sense. If you resist them making sense, they won't, right? It won't make sense. And I get it. It takes like a real, you just got to allow, okay? Allow the unbelievable to be believable. Allow the just inexplainable to be true. If you allow those things to be just so you can consider them, I invite you. Play a game with yourself and the Almighty, the universe, God, whatever name you want to give it. Yahweh, Jehovah. You can go to it in the name of Jesus. I mean, it's that which is. Play a game with yourself and your higher spirit and seek evidence. Seek confirmation of what I'm suggesting, of whatever you want to believe. I wanted to believe that God was with me. I found enough signs to know that God sustains me. That means I've never been without God. It's always been there. I sought signs to confirm that God was with me. There's so many ways I can explain it. I accept it. So seek then maybe signs. What is my purpose? What is my path? What is my blind spot? Ask, where's the answers? What is the answer to this problem? Ask the universe, ask the highest self, go to God. Often. It's where clarity comes from. There's an unseen, there's a God from the heavens. I mean, it's so in line. The words from the Bible have been passed down to us for reasons. And I give respect to the wisdom that's found there. Why? Because it explains so many things. But you've got to open yourself up. You have to create space within you for you to be wrong. Because if you receive the correct translations, the correct interpretations from the Bible, you're going to find out you've been living wrong in a lot of ways. Especially if you've been voting and paying taxes and registering and licensing and going along to get along. You've been doing a lot of things the wrong ways. And yet, there is none to blame. There is none to blame. There is none to judge. There is only God's will. And God's will is glorious. God's will for you is to be celebrated with you and through you and for you. Because God's will, I don't believe it's to punish you. Not if you're tuning in to me. We are the light that has been sent into the darkness to become the new way. We're here to bring the new ways, to break away from the old traditions. The old governments, the old banking systems, the old limitations. Wealth and authority, we've got it backwards, right? Wealth and authority, we've got all these people conspiring and backstabbing against each other, competing and working against each other for wealth and authority. But you know what? Future generations are going to look back on our generations and say, what a bunch of dumbasses. What a bunch of dumbasses. Because of small numbers of people with wealth and authority, because of those small numbers of people, we have nations at war with each other. There's a real life human tragedy that's happening because of the selfishness that's found through the corruptions. Hey, we've got our first guest today. Actually, second. The other one tried and didn't wait. Welcome, Hank. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, Jack. So when I asked you, how do you think the post office managed to get by without you? That was actually meant to be a softball question because I thought it was easy one that no one else thought of yet. It said, well, they must have been suffering, or I don't know. I just want to talk to them, figure it out, or something like that. I think it was going to be a simple softball question that you had knocked out of the park. That was unique, but yes,
Hank, it was unique. You are a unique man, and I don't always respond appropriately to you, but you've been kind enough and graciousness to forgive and continue supporting. What was that question again, Hank? Please.
Yeah. So, how did the post office manage to get by without you?
I'm actually curious to know that myself, Hank. Because not necessarily the Postal Service, but the union. I ran into a couple of employees after I left, and they said the union went to shit. The local union did. What that means or how it meant, I don't know. And as far as me working at the job, I'm just a number. That's what I realized. The Postal Service, government service, Donald Trump is showing the exact same thing. Those employees are not people. They're just fucking numbers. They're cogs in the wheel. They work until you're broken or old, then get rid of them and bring in someone new for less money. That's the way it works. That's America. Praise be. I do hope to find out. I do look forward to talking to people from my past. I'd love to know what they've been doing. I'd love to know what the rumor is about me. I don't know what happened, but I do know that the Postal Service was a part of my past, and it could be a part of my future. What do you think?
Yeah, that's an ambition. That is an ambition.
You think Joe Dispenza sounds more sincere than me? Man, my criticism about him is he's business oriented more than focusing on the gifts that he shares. He's making a profit, and he's doing well by the looks of it. And I'm not pocket watching. I'm not envious. I'm just suggesting that to compare me to Dispenza, I appreciate that. But to consider him more sincere than me, I think, I don't remember if I reached out to Joe or not. I think I did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did because you went out to one of his rallies in January. It was a different one. Okay.
No, that wasn't Joe Dispenza. Someone else said it. That's what it was, but it wasn't.
Oh yeah, Tommy said it was Joe Dispenza, but he's he's consistently incorrect with facts.
He is. No, my idea when I started listening to Joe Dispenza, for those who don't know, please look him up. The guy is brilliant, and he does a lot of work with science regarding neurosciences. He holds events where people groups of people joined together with energies and frequencies, the intentions of healing and love, and miraculous healings are happening. It's similar to the stories of the Bible, right? All these people gathered with Jesus, and Jesus is sending them away healed. Joe Dispenza's events are similar to that. And so when I started listening to him and Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, all these people who understand the minds and consciousness, they should come and teach the men and women in Congress this, because the men and women in Congress are nuts. They're literally insane. All these people who believe they've got these false identities. I'm a Republican, I'm a congressman, I'm a president, I'm a policeman, right? They're games, they're pretend. But they think it's real.
I'm not sure about that. I think many of those Congress people are like anti-realists like I am. They know it's a game and they want to win. That's all they care was winning.
They're playing by man's rules, not God's rules. And that's what I want to help them realize.
So what?
That's why I'm here.
Man's rules, not God's rules.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure I know what that means, because God puts in the kings and the people of power anyways, at least according to the Bible. But he makes the kings and breaks them and just get. So I think the technically, man, God allows man's rules. So.
And here in America, we have the freedom to choose and to direct. And the problem is the majority of American children through the public education system, they're not taught what they can do. They're pretty much told what they can't do. And so the American public doesn't realize how many rights they actually have. And I experienced this as a union leader. I'd get so frustrated at my fellow coworkers because they didn't seem to care about their rights. They didn't care that they were getting taken advantage of. They didn't care that, jobs were disappearing and their job was getting more difficult. Every month we'd hold a union meeting and I'd give up a day. I wouldn't have time with my family. I'd cancel plans with friends. I'd go to the union hall and make myself available, and hardly anyone would show up. It's like people didn't give a shit. Well, that's America. It's apathy. Apathy has created the billionaire class and the homeless class. We gotta come over. Get over the apathy. Philip, can I come up and talk about some ideas? Please do. You are absolutely welcome.
Yeah, I talked to him recently. He's good. He's good.
Wonderful. Thank you, sincerely. Excuse me, and the link should be pinned to the top.
Yeah, it's still there. That's how I got up here.
Yeah. Oh. Educating the masses, right? I used to try and do that in the workplace. I've been kind of doing it this way as well. Hey, wonderful. Philip, blessings, brother. Good to see you, my friend.
Mic check.
Pass.
Sounds amazing.
All right, cool. Continue. I'll fill in when you guys are done.
Where was I at?
It's my turn to interject. So yes, I actually do the same thing at my work. We were in the same industry, but I do like lots of the people have issues. They don't know where to go with them. I had to remind them each and every day, if a supervisor treats you poorly, you can use the alert line, write them up. That way, to keep the pressure on them to do better.
Yeah.
That's good. Always, you got to keep pressure, dude. Always got to keep pressure to do better. That's how people slack.
Yes. We could do so much better with that idea collectively, helping each other do better, holding each other to higher standards. But there's been a lot of fear programmed and conditioned, and there's been a lot of trauma that people haven't dealt with. And so I genuinely believe in the bigger picture, we're living through a mysterious, miraculous time. We are the time of change. I believe we are the generation that is here to break the generational patterns. We're here to overcome poverty. We're here to overcome addiction, maybe help each other overcome disease. When we unite together as a people, as a species, dude, miraculous things will be in store for us.
I agree. So Jack, the reason I came up, I wanted to explore an idea, and I wanted to see how you're doing. So how are you feeling with this new adventure?
I'm choosing to stay positive, because I felt myself slipping a few times since leaving home. But
What are you doing to keep positive? Are you like you said you wanted exercising, or so what kind of exercises? Like what are you doing to keep positive so other people have an idea on what they could do?
the positive for me is just a practice of gratitude. And the practice, I pay attention to me and my inner state and how I'm feeling. And I know my tendency, once I start feeling bad, I can start slipping to feel even worse. And at this time where I'm at with all the variables of my life, I don't have time to waste feeling bad. So I keep my mind focused on the future and I stay driven, right? I can't succeed if I start giving up. And so there's no reason to start giving up time just to feel bad. So that's a big part of it is I've been purposeful and driven, and have a long established practice of gratitude that I'm kind of proud of. I feel good about it.
And then Hank, how do you feel about Jack's adventure?
I want to see where stuff goes. So I'd say there's most of the stuff with Jack I agree with. There's some things with and the sociological level that I just think just won't pan out just because of how people are. But I want to see how the experiment goes at least, so I could take notes and maybe I could do a little better.
Okay.
And then Jack, thank you for sharing your experiences about how you feel, and then what is Jack Talcott grateful for? Because that's what keeps you positive.
I'm grateful for life, the totality of life, every day of life, every moment of life. Earth is beautiful. People, while they're challenging and they're frustrating, people are fucking amazing. They really are. And I have faith. I have hope that all this crazy adventure I've been on, that there is a reason. So.
And then I was thinking, I'm going to ask Hank the same question.
Sorry, asking one more time if I can.
What are you grateful, Hank?
I'm grateful to have the flexibility to do as much as I can do at the moment. But probably want a little more leverage, but I just had to work on it. I keep training.
And do you also agree with Jack that being grateful is also drives positivity?
Yes, grateful being drives positivity, but I have like one caveat that positivity in some spots is actually not good. Sometimes it's appropriate to be negative just when you actually solve the problem all the way.
What are your thoughts on that, Jack?
Which part? The
That sometimes you need negativity.
I've had enough of it. I choose no more. I don't. I usually feel guilty when I offer negativity. When I do get insulting and I react, I yell at someone or belittle them, I feel bad. So I don't like offering negativity, and I don't like feeling that way. And as far as other people's negativity, man, people have been generous with that towards me. And I used to pick it up. I try not to pick up the negativity anymore. They can keep it.
So that reminds me of the old saying is you can't what is an eye for an eye leaves everybody blind.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that, Hank? That you can't really fight negativity with negativity. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, regard. Well, absolutely, you absolutely can. This is just this. Some people are reasonable, and we could stay positive with them. But some people won't take reason. They won't take logic. They won't take faith. They won't take anything at all. So once you run out their idolatry and they just stuck on the negative, you just have to give them a little taste of medicine, and maybe they'll stop trying to give it to me.
That's a fair perspective. Leave it to Hank. You're always able to bring a different perspective. What came to my mind with what you were saying, though, Hank, to some degree, we've got to be able to communicate with people at the level they're at. And some people, you come to them with joy and they're pissed off, man, that's not going to work out. They don't want to receive that. The people are fascinating. We're interesting creatures. We're not always what we seem.
I would describe us as divine creatures.
I love that. I'd agree completely. But we've got a devilish side to us, that's for sure. Every one of us does.
How would you describe humans, creatures? How would you describe them, Hank?
They're just undescribable in general. I guess if I say a word, clever, but
Thank you for answering my questions, guys. I appreciate it. Jack, what kind of person do you think Jesus was?
That again is a very complex and deep question.
And that leads to, what do you think Jesus would say to Donald Trump?
I love that. I love that.
I thought you would, brother. Enjoy. Take your time, please.
Thank you. See, where I was going to start with, for me, what Jesus was is the example, the perfect example, the goal to achieve, the beingness to become. And I spent most of my life trying to do that, but I didn't have a relationship with God. Hello, McFly. That's pretty obvious and pretty dumb, right? So I did turn and found a way to God, and it was through exactly what Jesus taught. But it wasn't just him. My path took me first through sciences and philosophy to get my own relationship with the divine. And then through philosophy, it was the wisdoms of the Buddhas that brought me to understand the love that was offered through the Christ. And so in my mind, it does what he taught. If you take those words as truth, it leads you to a relationship with the Father, which is the present. It's the gift of life we've all been given. So the other part to that, what would Jesus say to Donald Trump? I'm confident his words would be, follow me. What I'd like to say to Donald Trump is, join me. Join me. Let's follow he, he who sent me, the Prince of Love, the King of Love, the King of me. That's what I feel.
That's awesome, Jack. Thank you. Now, I heard that Jesus could perform miracles, almost like, curing the sick, almost miracles. What miracle do you think Jesus would have to would there be a miracle that Jesus would have to perform on Congress? And what do you think that miracle would be?
It would be the revealing. He would open their eyes, open their minds, open their hearts. And once they saw, they would never be the same again. In a way, that's what happened with me in my own individual path. God allowed my mind to shift, my heart opened, and without realizing what was going on, I was instantly transformed. My life was never the same again because my values had changed. My priorities had shifted. Can you imagine a profound shift in values, a profound shift in priorities? All of a sudden, on one day soon here in Washington, D.C., with the men and women of Congress, all 500, 600 of us gathered together, and there's a profound shift. And then the next thing, all the connections are used. People are working together to share the good news all around the world. Peace has been declared. Wars are ending. The militaries have been instructed to stand down and stand aside, right? Until the details are worked out. It's all possible. When we set the truth free, when the militaries are no longer defending the governments and the corporate secrets, creating enemies in this world, when the truth is set free, mankind will live with prosperity and abundance. It's practically guaranteed. Because
Jack,
welcome.
You mentioned that shift, and I went through that shift, and it was when I decided I was going to put my foot down, and I started doing my research. This is back in probably like middle of 2012, somewhere around there. And I started getting into the research, and by the time 2016 came around and I decided I was going to travel around with my private plates and start testing this stuff, I had begun that shift when I said I've had enough and started doing my research. But it was just a slow shift. But I knew I was going to stand on that shift because the shift was within me. I was the one that decided I was going to change. And then when I decided I was going to stand on that, and I started doing my research and started doing the traveling with private plates, I ended up being forced to stand on it and got rid of the job, the banks, all my material possessions, went out east to the mountains, traveled around out there, and found myself in my independence in the natural world. Came back home for a while, went back down to the Ozarks for a couple of years, did the same thing, wandering around. And I come back, and I'm back into this research and stuff. And the shift, You know, despite everything that I've gone through, I can't name one particular incident or one time where I actually felt the shift on the external part. It was that internal decision shifting myself and saying, no more. I've got to stop doing what I'm doing first and foremost. And that's the biggest thing people have a problem with. And that's what I think most people relegate is give it unto God. You know, give it to God. You have to be able to have this position where you find out that, okay, I'm going to go this path and I cannot let anything else distract me. And what happens is, the way I've seen it, everybody throwing this God thing at you, trying to pull you off that path. Even my parents did it for a long time until my mom looked at me and said, Keith, the police are your authority. And it hit me. I'll not walk the same path with everybody else going the wrong direction again. I can't do it.
Keith,
That's the shift, in my opinion.
Keith, I love you. It was a shift. It is a shift. It's still shifting, okay? There's a pattern I noticed from you that I'd like you to consider. This story of your folks telling you who the authority is, that had to have hurt, okay? I can understand that. However, since it keeps coming up, I'm guessing you've got some inner forgiveness. There's still some inner conflict and inner wounds that you can heal, okay?
Well, yeah, I admit that myself. And that's where I get my distrust from. That's why I am steadfast that if you come at me sideways, it's probably not going to happen. I'm looking for those that are good, clean at heart right from the start. It's that if you want equity, you must first come with clean hands. I've been practicing this for a long time because as a little kid, I saw it. I saw how deceitful people were. And I just can't put up with it.
Keith, I love you, my friend. I don't know how to offer this correctly.
You're doing fine, Jack.
But I know we cross paths for reasons. And I'm telling you, brother, let that other boundary go. Okay? Yes, the world has given you every reason to put up walls, every reason to distrust people. Every reason is there. Life has been unfair. But here's what I know, brother. You're fucking tough. Ain't nobody gonna hurt you. Ain't nobody gonna take advantage of you because you pay attention. You've learned a lot. So if you let go of the distrust, you can just feel more peace. Does that make sense?
Oh, I'm at peace, Jack. I don't worry about the distrust, and it's not that I let it prevent me from relationships either. It's
Good.
just there. It's like I just explained on another panel. I see people much like an onion, where you have to peel away different layers to get to really know them. Well, most people don't do that. They'd rather look at somebody and see the materialistic aspects, what kind of car they have, what kind of job they work, what kind of clothes they wear, what church they go to, this and that. And it's a caste system that they think they have to follow, and it makes it easier for them to just concern about the outward look. So my objective in life is pushing people's buttons. Now, generally, I try to push the good buttons in a positive aspect, leading towards good effects. Sometimes I will use other buttons to trigger people in the negative aspect, reminding them of things of the past. Not such a good way to approach things, and you don't get such the great results. But I assure you, it presents a sense in me that people learn better to trust, and I learn better to trust them because I'm very forward and open. I'm not here to play games. Period.
I get that. And yet, life is a game. We're children. We're supposed to have fun.
Oh, yeah.
Wizard, sincerely, my life online the past few years, I know I've gained. I've gained tremendously through the interactions as far as growing and recognizing my own triggers, growing my own self-control and ability to communicate. And it's also sincerely one of the lessons. I got to give it up to our friend Paulie Boy. Proper instruction motivates people. A little shout out for him. I got to give it up to him and others. Help me remember to have fun. Life is serious, right? We need to take things seriously, but let's have fun along the way.
Absolutely, Jack, and I agree with you. And it's such a synchronicity here as well. You notice my little picture here. I went through a phase where I did the silent mode for a long time. It was the best bit non-bit. It was funny as hell. People loved me. And I guarantee you nobody made Paul laugh more than that on his panels.
Probably.
Synchronicity. But yet here I am again. I'm telling you, it's only when I speak that I get myself in trouble. It's when I'm silent and I can trigger people just by means that people think it's funny. I'm being totally serious.
Life is fascinating. This comment from That Which Is, God created Satan, so Satan is godly. What if God created Satan and the fallen angels with a more divine purpose than we realized? What if it's a goal for mankind? What if the goal is, the stories are taught that mankind was created and the angels were created to torment and mislead us. But what if it's actually the other way? God's got a plan, and God's plan is unity. God's plan is life and wholeness and celebration and joy. That's in my version, at least. So God did create Satan, so there is a godly and divine plan to the darkness. So what if the plan is that mankind, by our choice, by our willingness, we become so divine, so Christ-like in our individual nature that we lead the fallen angels back to God? It makes sense to me, because I'll work with the devil if it serves the greatest purpose of God. I mean, that's what I've learned how to do in my life. I'll work with people I do not like to get the job done. This is what I don't understand, why it's been so difficult for me to find people to work with me again, because I've done it before. I know it's possible. But what if I truly trust and believe? I know in my heart God created us for something special, and it was not just to pay taxes and to go along with the corporate agendas.
So, Jack, I wanted to ask you something about Jesus, because you guys were talking about fun. What do you think Jesus did for fun?
Oh, can you?
Well, the reason why I asked that question, because like any friend, you want to get to know him better, right? So what would Jesus do for fun? So what do you? Yeah, let me know, Jack.
Actually, I've thought about that. Not knowing the details, I've imagined how amazing it could be to have that divine gift, however it was done, where he would sit and people would come to him and they would go away healed. They'd go away without their pain, without their fear, without their disease, right? To be able to be that vessel, to experience miraculous transformations, miraculous healings. Philip, that's my dream. I seek to become a man who helps heal. If God allows me, I'll do it my ways. But I think that I honestly think that's what Jesus probably did for that fun, that and prayer and meditation. That's what I do. It's become one of my favorite things to do, and I never thought I would ever consider this possibility for me. Because how can you have fun praying and meditating? What the fuck is that about? Right? You can be moved to tears and joys of memories and imagination. You can be moved to tears and joy from just senses and feelings of expansion. There's a lot to be found in the inner work. And then when we find peace inside, all it is recognizing it, because the peace is here now. The peace and the presence of you with God here in heaven, it's here and now if you accept it, if you choose it. But if we want to live in our life where we're all alone, where God's some far off judge that sitting on a throne waiting to punish us, no, God's here with us, revealing the moments together through us, for us all. And if we can find a way to create a better world, there's nothing stopping us.
I agree. I think if we can change people's perception that God is positive and not negative, that will help out a lot. Like you said, people think God is just waiting there to punish us. It's like, no, he's waiting for us to give him love.
Yeah, and it's a reciprocal thing, you know. Despite my appearance here on these panels and that angry old man, that's not the way I actually behave when I'm out in public, unless it comes to certain extents, like having to be forced into those courts. I do get abrupt and I do get very blunt. I'm not polite. I will call you names, communist bastards and everything. But when it comes to the reality of life, I've learned how to give people that respect. Like I said, I don't have to trust them, but I give them the respect so that I can get close enough to them so I can push certain buttons, so I can get to know them better, so I can be associated with them. Most people won't put any of that effort into it, and they take on this fake popularity contest saying they're part of the same group because they wear the same kind of clothes, they have the same kind of income and this and that. And that's the bullshit of it. That's not true. That's your fictional life of Ken and Barbie. Who are you in reality, though, is something that most people won't know because you don't care to know yourself. Most people won't look in that mirror and judge themselves, criticize themselves for their own actions.
Yes and no. Yes and no. I know many people are probably like I used to be, and I'd look at myself in the mirror and I'd bitch that son of a bitch out. Fucking hated that guy. He was always screwing up, saying the wrong thing, forgetting to do what he should. He was incompetent. So I think a lot of people are willing to look in the mirror and, and be tough on themselves. But are they willing to accept? Are they willing to forgive? That is the gift. Space. Space is the topic, right? Space to break from traditions. Consider this specific tradition. When we have a judgment against someone, whether it's someone else or ourselves, we're carrying resentment or guilt. Those things will result in shame. So carrying unforgiveness, it binds us to that event, to that person, to the label, because we've bound ourselves into this higher position of authority where we have the righteousness, we have the right, and so we're bound together with that until we separate and detach. And only the strong can be willing to detach from what they used to know. But if you're carrying unforgiveness and bitterness within yourself for any excuse, I'm telling you, give yourself space. Break free from the tradition of resentment. Break free from the tradition of guilt or anxiousness. Break free to become whole, to become renewed. Forgiveness brings the miracle. It's the gift.
I think that from my own perspective, I think that's a large part of it is a lot of people are anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They feel like they're behind in the game or something like that. And they get anxious and they want more. And this is that materialistic desire and this societal comfort and convenience that's been presented for us. And if we're not in that comfort convenience zone, then we feel like we deserve more so that we can be. It's almost like it's an absolute right or something. And people have no idea that the true aspect is you have to work for that. You have to work for that out in the natural world by yourself, or even in a society where you're surrounded with thousands of people.
We're all trying to make it.
Yeah, I think. Well, a lot of people do understand we had to work for it, but then it says, well, we guess we feels like we had to work against other people to get it, because it's just people just don't emphasize, and it's being antagonistic, and that's how we get to the point where, okay, I will interact with people through this interface, so because interacting with them directly hasn't been working.
Right, but again, it's all for the aspect of the materialistic things. They're not going after their natural inherent talents and favors and things like that in the natural sense. Most people, they have this hobby. Well, the hobby would be more their natural sense. And a hobby on a collective community basis would be all these people with different hobbies and exchanging their products. That's your local economy. That's what it's actually based on. The employment and the materialistic world that goes beyond that local community is all the commerce that brings things to you that you don't have internally within your own societies.
This term economy, that's something I've been given some thought on. Hey, and we're discussing economics, so perfect timing. Welcome, Dusty. How you doing today, brother?
What's that?
Greetings.
Greetings. Sorry, my volume was low.
We were just getting into the word economy, economics.
Optics are high, though. Optics are high,
I
though.
knew my dick was twitching for a reason.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
The idea of
Besides Cynthia.
the idea of an economy, if you consider it in just the conceptual term, it's the monitoring and method. It's the method and distribution of energy and resources, right? So the distribution and the distribution and use of energy and resources throughout a household or throughout a society. We've got all the logistics, we've got the technical ability, we've got everything we need, but we've got a kink in the distribution system. The way we collectively assign value has been misplaced. It's time to realign. Makes sense?
Hi, Jack.
It actually doesn't make sense.
Value is assigned collectively and independently by free markets, not
Jack.
well, ideally,
Can I say
not through
something?
totalitarian mandate.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much telling people, hey, you value this, you're wrong. That doesn't make sense to me.
Right. You really can't impose value.
What
Yeah.
new values would you like to impose? That's my question.
No, I'm suggesting you not impose value.
Well, I would like to explore Jack's
Right.
values.
That's what I was talking about with the local community in your hobbies. Most people have different hobbies, and as a local community, together with your hobbies, you could use that as your internal exchanges. It's when we have the want and desire for things that we cannot produce in our own community that we go beyond that community and brings in an economical system.
Well,
Yeah, sometimes the community just can't provide what you need, and you can just giving them more and more is not going to get you what you need.
The idea is, and there's many different ways. I've seen many different concepts that other people have put together on how to create these separate community systems, and I get what you're saying, that beyond what the individual community can involve, when you incorporate with other communities, well, that's where the real economic and distribution system comes in. As a system grows, its complexity increases, and there's no dispute in that. But I believe we have the ability, the technology. Keshe Institute is one of the organizations. They've actually they've got the science behind some free energy technology, allegedly. They've got ways for the communities to advance with technology and energy independence. We have a lot of solutions available for us. Changing what we view as important is what I'm talking about. We've created these systems where those who are selfish with acquiring the wealth and those who, are power hungry and elevate themselves into positions of influence, those people aren't the most qualified to make the best decisions, yet that's what the world of today glorifies: wealth and authority. It's not supreme. Intelligence is supreme. And
which is necessary to get either of those things in a large degree.
Well, yes and no.
But to keep them, let me put it that way, to keep them in.
There you
Fair
go.
enough.
I've seen a lot of people get things that they didn't deserve, but never managed to keep them. That's the problem. It's much like a poker game. You got to know how to keep your chips when you win them.
But even in this age, and I'll agree to that, right? It does take some sort of knowledge and wisdom to be able to stay successful in this very competitive world. But I've heard it said there's many billionaires today who are living very miserable lives because they're worried about not losing what they've achieved. They're worried about losing, right? And this material world, it's driven everyone insane. Man's laws defy nature. They don't bring order. They bring separation. Man's laws justify wealth and authority. The people with wealth and authority have been sending people's children off to wars to fight wars, right, for more wealth and authority. It's time to end the games of royalty and actually claim our independence. But for us to be independent, we must be trustworthy. And the best way we're trustworthy is when we're honest. And when we're honest with each other, we're stronger. That's how we build community, is through communicating, through shared interests.
Jack?
Yes, Noel. How are you today?
I did have a track meet earlier, and I won 3 gold medals.
Dude, congratulations, Noel. Nice work, my friend.
Thank you.
She runs fast.
And Jack, are you going to meet the president soon?
I'm hoping to. Do you know how to reach him for me?
No, I can't.
Well, if you come across anyone who does know how to reach him, Help me out. Yeah, I'd like to meet with him pretty soon. I don't know exactly how to do it. I got close today to several senators, and
You should make a Twitter account and try to bait them out with provocative tweets.
that's right. Twitter is the way, isn't it?
Or Truth Social, that's his platform.
I got on Truth Social. I created an account on Truth Social.
I bet if you show up to the White House in your underwear, you'll get some attention.
What if I don't? Yeah, I might have underwear. Life is funny, man. Humans are crazy. That's what I've realized. I'm confident in that statement. Humans are crazy.
What race do you think is the craziest?
The human race?
I mean, like ethnicity, like what color skin?
Oh, dude, they're all crazy in their different ways. Most crazy, dude, the Florida man keeps coming to mind, and that's typically a white guy.
It's definitely the blacks.
I don't know. I've lived.
I don't either.
I've lived
White
a
people
pretty.
don't fear death, bro.
Huh?
They jump off the cliffs in like squirrel suits.
Jack, I have a question for you. Who
That's
is
true.
the guy in the glasses? Is that a real person?
It's a picture of a real person.
That's Daisy.
It's Wizard.
Damn it.
Word Wizard. Our friend El Perro.
You remember me?
Yeah. So the world of the future, space to break from the traditions. Do you I'm curious if you can agree with this, Flow State or
What?
Dusty. Economics and politics, those are symptoms. They're the symptoms of the religion of money.
Which money is just a tool of power?
Absolutely.
It's a tool, it's an instrument, but it's a man-made object. It's a man-made concept, in fact. But people give all their power to budgets, to paychecks. They don't look their neighbors in the eye, but they pay real close attention to what the politics are saying, what the economics are saying. It's foolishness. We've been deceived.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess the good thing is that since you don't care about power or money, then it doesn't matter what happens with it, right? Like, problem solved.
No, poverty exists. Poverty is real.
Well, Jack, how are we going to not care about money when you're caring about money?
Yeah, that's a good question.
No, I care about the truth. And the truth is, mankind has been held back by budgets and authority. That was a thought I never completed earlier.
Oh, interesting. So, if mankind's held back by budgets, then the people who don't have budgets should be doing the best. How do we measure?
Collectively, mankind has been sabotaging itself and at war with itself over profits, created the illusions of scarcity, and then we've created an abundance of trash. It's all a sick game.
So I asked the question for a mechanism, and you jumped straight to that conclusion.
Accept the conclusion, Hank. Shut up.
So it's hard to. I don't know. I'm a stoner. I'm just thinking. Would you recommend one big bank account for everybody that we all can just pull from?
What if everything was free?
That's what I mean. We keep money because we somehow have to use it, but everybody just has one debit card that's linked to one account, and we just take what we need.
I don't think we even need money.
Okay.
we need efficiency, we need productivity, we need creativity, we need freedom, we need independence. But we've created a reliance on government. And through the reliance of government, they created a reliance of taxation. And all of this taxation and government, it's all hiding behind, it's all protecting the banking industry.
So here's why I like having money still. I'm one of the people who end up having to carry whole projects by himself. So I like money, the idea of money just to keep score better, right? So people don't say just sit down lazy on their butt and just assign me all of their work, and I have to pretty much carry society on my back. So at least it's a way to at least reverse the process of we'll just pile all the work on these couple people who does the work.
I'm not sure what to do with that. What I could see is truly free markets. I could see communities working together to develop the housing that's appropriate for the residents of their community, right? Working together to help even maintain the housing. This was one of my ideas I wanted to get going back in Spokane, but I never got any doors open. I mean, there's so many ways we could use the unions, the apprenticeship programs, in order to do community service, to help take care of the elderly, to help take care of the impoverished. So we could do a lot more with communities if we work together and we stopped relying on money for everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking past my issue. You're telling people just stop relying on money. What to do about the people who slack off and the people who get worked themselves halfway to death?
I don't think you're looking at the bigger picture. I think you're thinking of yourself. But
yes, I am. Does myself matter, or do I just need to work all the way to death to satisfy other people's wants?
No, you're kind of missing the point of what I'm suggesting. Because what I'm suggesting is if we find a way to change these value systems, we could work together. Working together without the competitive focus, where the competition is truly which business, which organization can provide the best value for the least expense, right? The most efficient. If we actually look at efficiency and productivity, we would start combining forces together. If we combine forces together, we create less of a requirement for jobs. People don't have to have jobs in order to be productive in society. It's a lie. We do have things that we can contribute, and we should all be contributing to the greater good, but everyone's focused on their own household, their own budget. Everyone's focused on their own dollar. We're missing the opportunities of a lifetime. It's this lifetime we've been given.
So
hey,
I agree. I agree if we find a way, but do you agree that we do not have the way at the moment?
I have the way. I'm trying to get it shared with others. That's why I'm in Washington, D.C., is because I believe that for some reason I've received some pretty good ideas. But I'm a nobody from Spokane, Washington, and clearly nobody wanted to listen to me there, so I'm here.
I'm listening to you. You have a conclusion. You don't have an implementation yet.
What would that look like? What do you mean?
I mean, have to deal with the parts in the systems we see right in front of us. You have a conclusion, but if everyone just work together, everything will work. I agree. But do you agree that everyone's not working together at the moment except through the interfaces that we created to abstract over people?
People are living the lives they're living based on what they've learned. Many people have been miseducated or undereducated, and there's a lot of talent that's being ignored and exploited. You know, we've got creative geniuses working 2-3 jobs at these fast food places trying to just fucking provide the basics for their kids. And if given the
No,
chance,
we don't.
oh, bullshit.
We don't have any geniuses who can't figure out a better way to occupy their time than dipping fries.
There most certainly are. People can be creative in different ways and genius in different ways and completely ignorant about other ways. This
All
is
right, we'll
why
find one and do a little short with them. Like, hey, this is a smart person working the register at McDonald's. It'll take you forever.
Well, tell you what, I had chemical engineers and other highly educated people working right next to me on the DBC, the letter sorting machines at the post office. So I witnessed geniuses wasting their minds on mindless jobs.
Did they have character flaws?
No, because a mindless job at the post office actually paid better than going off in their field of study, which it blew my mind because these people were truly inspired and genius in their fields, I thought. But anyway, every one of our lives are different, right? The thing is, I know for a fact I see a lot of people selling themselves short. Kind of what you said, Dusty, okay? If someone's got half a mind, they're not going to settle for a crappy job. But the reality is, if they got low self-worth, they'll take the first job they can get. Hello, I did that a few times. You know?
That's actually a pretty good argument that some smart people do have low self-worth and don't understand what their value is and just need a job. That's not a bad argument.
But it's a bad course of action because nothing says you should not be valued or you should have higher self-esteem, like saying, but you shouldn't be able to choose your own decisions.
I understand where Jack's coming from. I'm working in logistics right now because it actually pays me more than I got paid in tech. Sure, there's other people that got paid way, way, way more than I did in tech, but I wasn't one of those people. So I've changed fields.
Isn't that representative then of people who want you the most are willing to pay the most, right? And the people who are willing to pay the most have the most customer gain, right? Like it's representative of actual end user demand.
Yes.
So that's which is basically a way of summing up the total amount of good you produce for others. So if you produce more value for others by sorting mail than you do, I don't know, in a chemistry lab or whatever, so be it.
But that's not how employment works.
What do you mean it's not how employment works? How does it work?
Well, the one seeking employment doesn't really get a dictate a lot of times in what they receive.
Well, I mean,
generally,
that's how Hank got his job. He dictated that this job pays more, so he went there.
Okay, but most employers are seeking to hire for the lowest amount they can get away with paying.
And employees are trying to get the highest amount. That is the tug of war.
Yeah, it was a straight shot for me. I got downsized, and I wasn't able to get the heck out of that company in the same field. So, but when I did get back up, I got back quick. So
I see nothing unfair or unjust about each side trying to operate for its own best interest.
Are most jobs manufacturing and basic admin processing jobs anyways? Like that's the basic job. Like being a brain is actually and needing a brain is actually very rare. We don't really need brains nowadays. We just need someone to process paperwork or manufacture a piece of shit item. You know what I mean? So the standard job, I would say up to 75% jobs are mindless jobs, and it just need processors. So there are, like, I would say there's more brains out there than there are good jobs.
I mean, I suggest that people not have jobs at all. Fuck that shit.
You can't
Well-
do that. Stay in the argument flow state. That's like kicking the goalpost to the next stadium.
I mean,
Here-
I'm not trying to kick the goalpost. What do you want to bring it back? Bring it back. But that's what I'm doing. And
Here, there's actually been studies on efficiency in businesses, and I remember it even at the post office with some of my jobs. It's an hourly wage. I did not work for every hour that I was there. There was a lot of downtime, right? So a lot of jobs are built in with a lot of downtime, but you need X amount of employees, you know, for the busy times. So a lot of men and women actually aren't even really earning their paycheck. They tell themselves they are, they complain about the time they spend, but they're not working hard.
so then they deserve less money.
Well, potentially, but more importantly, it's not about the money. It's about what is the purpose of the job? What is the purpose
Glad to
of
know
the
that we
business?
don't care about money anymore, so it doesn't matter.
See, it's actually a very serious topic, because the people sleeping in the streets who can't afford shelter, the moms and dads who are struggling to make sure their children are fed, the moms and dads who are relying on the fucking free lunch system to feed their kids. You know, that shit is real. That's real life here in America. So it's a problem. Maybe not for you, because you found ways to sit on your ass and make fun of people and joke around online. You know, money's easy, right? But
So I agree it's a serious topic, but you just say you just jump to the conclusions. Doesn't care about the implications. You don't care about the conflict between people. You said, "Well, I got a vision. You implement it." That's the way it feels right now.
That's how most road trips are, though, Hank. You think of the destination first.
Yeah,
Before
but
you do
doesn't mean
anything, before you do anything, you have to think of the destination, and how you get there is almost made up. You kind of, well, I get on the road and I start heading that direction. And your hope that the road's complete as you get there. You know, you hope that the government has built the road to get there, but most of it is the destination, not the in
So what's the destination then?
the change of values, to change people's values to love and free.
Okay.
yes,
but it doesn't automatically give an
So
obligation.
then why are
You
we
get
talking
you
about
get the
money instead of
CDL,
love?
You get the CDL and rent the bus so you can drive us there. That doesn't the obligations are created yet.
We're talking about love money, okay, and free money.
Oh, free money. So we're still focusing on money, though. It seems like we're placing too much value on money.
no, I've been trying to point that there's ways to operate without relying on money, but it keeps coming back to money. This is the way the world is. And if you follow the money, the truth is fucking obvious.
So
There is, what's that?
So a person try to operate without money, like in an at school environment or a club environment, and the problem keeps happening that people just pile out all the work they can upon me and just expect me to steal with it. But no one cares. It's just a personal problem. It's just a personal problem. It's not their problem. It's a personal problem. It's your problem. You fix it.
That's what this economy has done. Everyone's got their own problems, and nobody wants to help with other problems.
But
But
you
we're
don't
always
understand.
together.
You don't understand. This was outside the economy because it was inside the club. You didn't keep track of money internally. But that's the problem.
Hank, I'm not sure what your deal is. I missed it.
The deal is people will bury other people in work, and there's paying obligation to them, and without money to keep track of who's doing what, it's just gonna collapse under the weight of the work. It's not shared early.
So are you saying that you're potentially doing like 110% of the work? Or
Yeah.
are you okay? Is it possible for now that you understand that you do 110%? Can you regulate yourself? Go, you know what, dude? I don't need to be so serious. Maybe I can do 90% of the work and still keep my job.
Yeah, I've done that.
And adjust?
Yes, and what happened is
and not be
either
so
the club
personally
failed
connected.
or I got kicked out for no reason. Then the club failed, so it just doesn't work. And the best I can get back from other people and say, "Hey, I need help." Well, just think more positively. It's a personal problem. If you just felt the love, the people won't act the way that they currently act.
Hank, why aren't you more positive, Hank?
Because I live in this world.
Yeah, take a chill pill, bro.
Hank, you don't always have to be so angry. Prayers.
We're gonna start calling you Hulk Oflamo. You're always raging, bro. You're always at 110%. Calm down, bro. The sun is right over there. The sun is setting. You know, like, come on, dude. That's what I've learned, Hank. That I used to be one of those guys that to try to outperform everybody, and I just wore myself to the ground emotionally and spiritually, and I didn't want to go to work. And now I've learned to just people say it's one of those things from like was it AA, is to only do what's on your plate and focus what's on your plate. Try not to fit too much on your plate. Focus exactly what your job is, and that's it. That's it. And after that, focus on yourself. When your job is done, focus on yourself.
That's a good point.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're doing 110%, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, bye, Hank.
Yes,
But, Jack, I wanted to talk to you about this. This was an earlier topic until Hank gets back, and I'm glad that Dusty's here because I asked him this yesterday or the day before. Do you think people prayed for evil and God said yes? It's like they prayed for it. I've heard people say, "Oh, I pray that something happens to your family. I pray you have this and that. I pray that you break a leg." And did God answer those prayers? What are your thoughts?
I think it's very possible because there's a lot of data that shows the power of mind. And consider this. It goes in with the title of a recent stream I did about the dominant narrative. There's been a lot of people predicting my failure, saying I'm going to lose this, I'm going to lose that, this is going to happen. A lot of people predicting my success. It's black magic. They're bringing that energy into the consciousness and into the universe and speaking power into it in words. And I'm not saying that that is the result, but I am saying that hearing their negativity placed thoughts of doubt inside of me. And I know that any thoughts of doubt inside of me do not fucking help me. That's the wrong direction for me. I can't risk that anymore. I need to succeed. So can people have negative prayers answered? I believe there's power in all things.
Well, they prayed for earthly king to guide them in their societal discord because they couldn't handle it themselves. They got an earthly king. We have many earthly kings that rule over all the cities, and yet not one of them can take care of those societal discords by themselves. Because again, like I said earlier, it falls upon the people to be able to resolve those kind of issues themselves. Yet they remain dependent upon the government to do that for them.
We can learn a lot from the past, and the past has shown us that we've been misled. That idea of, in the biblical stories, the chosen people, they demanded a king. Well, God rewards evil people, immoral people, with evil rulers. We voluntarily here in America chose a liar and a deceiver to become the president, the commander in chief. Donald Trump, he's If I'm remembering accurately, I believe he's on record as a convicted felon. He's convicted of some charges in his
Yeah, by other felons that just ain't been
Right.
convicted yet.
I know, but it's the truth. It's the story. He's a criminal who's been elected to the highest position of power in America. Why? Because fucking criminals enable criminals. There's thieves and liars amongst us in the masses. It's time for people to
Did you just call a
awaken.
majority of people criminals?
Yep.
Well, good thing you're outnumbered then, I guess.
I've been outnumbered my whole fucking life, man. I love the
Pretty much.
odds.
Yeah, Jack's got a lot of work to do. Yeah, bro.
Well, here, this is the truth. Psychopaths run this realm. Why? Because the most true psychopaths, they've been in touch with the spiritual path. They just reached out to the darkness. That's how they gained the worldly powers. But we're at a time where the power is shifting. The dynamic is being more widely spread, and people are healing. People are overcoming the darkness within themselves, so they're seeing the light in the world. And Lex Animata, we are the plan. I trust in the plan because it is me. I know my plans. God is with me. I make it up as I go. But that's the only way to be if you want to flow. Holy shit. See, the truth rhymes too, man. When it comes through, it just rhymes and it's funny and it's fun. And that's how I know. But truly, to flow, to let go, to let God, I used to think those were words of cowards. I thought those were words that, foolish people say. Let go, let God. Well, it's actually the way to freedom. But you got to be wise. You got to be wise in realizing what is for God to do and what is for me to do. Because I can only trust what I can do. I can only know that, at least. Here we got another guest here. Welcome back, Brenda Debates. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Feeling blessed. Truly feeling blessed. Oh, that is you, Noel, making the noise. Here, the topic, and it ties to the discussion, in my mind, this topic ties to the discussion on economics very closely. Because, like I said, I view economics and politics, those are symptoms. They reflect the religion of money. Without the religion of money, economics and politics would have no real substance or power. So I believe it's time for us, through us being the people alive today, we create space for us to break away from the old ways. We create space for the new ideas to come together. And I believe that I'm one of the new ideas. Who's with me? Because peace is the purpose.
What's your new idea?
Well, it's not a new idea. It's more of a grasping on to old ideas. But the idea is ending wars, peace on earth, actually bringing justice into society instead of punishment and oppression.
How are you going to manage that?
Well, I think one of the best ways is to start at the top It's not the easiest way to begin, but I'm in Washington, D.C. now. The goal is to find a way to speak with Donald Trump and the other men and women in Congress and start here in America. And America right now, we've got everything we need. If mankind wakes up and is willing to see what I can see, peace. There's no war with me, right? I have no wars in Israel or Ukraine, but those are real wars that are happening. And we're a part of that happening today. So I believe that America is perfectly poised to lead America and the rest of the world into immediate reforms, transformative changes, right? Bringing us closer to heaven here on earth rather than the hell that many people are experiencing today. I think it's possible. And I think it's really happening with us.
Hey Jack, can we explore some of those changes? I remember you said that you changed your values, to love, peace, and live without fear. What were some of your old values so we can recognize where maybe these are areas that we need to work on that you have dropped? What are some of the old values that that you've dropped?
Thank you, Philip. I appreciate that. I mean, I've mentioned this. A lot of my inner work meant coming to reality with my past. And for me, I worked hard to, well, first of all, I allowed myself to drop pretty low. My standards for me, I was eating the American diet, real low standards, fast food a lot. I was addicted to television and entertainment, phone games on my phone. I gambled, I drank. I was really unhealthy. So low standards were with me, but my values were in getting to work on time, paying my bills on time, making sure my credit score was better, putting aside X amount, making sure I was putting away for my retirement. Those things were important to me, and behind that, the idea was providing security for my son. He was my family, is my family. So I thought I had my values in the right place, but I was asleep at the wheel, going through the motions of life with a focus on surviving. And I had it easy as far as survival because I didn't go to college, but I had a well-paying job at the United States Postal Service, a career employee. So as long as I obeyed the rules, I had job security. And it was easy to obey the rules. You just show up at time and do what you're told, right? So I thought I was doing life the right way, and I was fucking miserable. And I didn't admit it to myself. I didn't know how to admit it. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't even know what to do. So I just stayed dead. Even when I stopped drinking, I was still dead inside. So 2017, the end, and through 2018, I shifted. Everything within me was transformed. So now my value system is, I am grateful. I am grateful and I am present. And as long as I'm present, I'm grateful, I'll figure out what to do. I just got to be me. So being me, I know my record. I know the type of friend I am. I know the type of man I am. Wherever I go, I try to be a positive.
Yeah. What are you doing tomorrow?
So this is why I'm hoping to get into the Capitol building when it's filled with men and women from Congress. I'd like to go talk to them.
You can probably talk to your state senator or congressperson.
I'm
You're not going to get in to see Trump.
I'm going to try.
Well, again, I'm going to present the idea that if you look at the congressional record, there have been many people that have been presented to Congress through the Congress sessions. These are known as private laws. There's many of them on the books, and people just need to learn the process. You can communicate with Congress, and you can communicate with the president through Congress. You can eventually end up being the president. So don't try to restrict anybody, please.
Nobody's trying to restrict anybody.
Yeah. The thing I've learned, there's always another way. And I actually, let me be clear in this, I actually think I got this message in defiance of many of the Christian religions. There's always another way. If something's worthy of getting done, there's always another way. And getting to God, getting to peace, those are worthy. Those are worthy of finding our way. And here, Brenda, we haven't really got to know each other, but I appreciate you and the fact that you've joined with this on a few times. There's something interesting and fascinating happening in our world, and I only know my life, but my life has been pretty bizarre. Here I am. When I started studying self-development, started studying the principles of success, actually finding goals, developing plans, learning how to adapt and overcome, I started incorporating those into my life, and Veterans for Peace helped me find my purpose. Ending wars. If there's anything I want to achieve while I'm here on Earth, I want to be a part of ending wars. So I'm here in Washington, D.C. If you know of anyone, or you think of anyone who might want to support this adventure, these endeavors, I think it's time. You're muted, Philip.
I put my $5 in.
It's
the hat's out there, guys. It's your time to donate. Donate $1, donate $2. Jack's heading to Congress. He's here to change minds, change values. Help him get there, guys. Buy him a cup of coffee. Buy a senator a cup of coffee. Make it happen.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Because until I succeed, we live in a world where money helps, right? It certainly makes life a little more simple. When you don't have money, it gets complicated, dude. Hey, welcome to you, Tark. How you doing, brother?
Good, Jack. How are you?
I'm feeling blessed. Hey, Tark, speaking of,
Go ahead.
I don't remember the specifics, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a day not long ago where a challenge was offered. Triple the donation for what Jack might receive. And I think that day, the only one I received was from our buddy.
From Wizard, yeah. I told Wizard. No, I'll explain to you. No, 100%. It was $60 I was supposed to contribute to you, and I told Wizard I have to. Because I don't have a contract with anybody. I don't have any.
This is the problem with things like that. See, this is the problem with things like that. You make a statement like that, you're supposed to be held to your word. And I ponied up right away, and everybody expected you to pony up right away. And it wasn't until somebody else ponied up that you then turned around and retracted. It wasn't until somebody else ponied up that you turned around and retracted. See, buddy, that's your bad faith. You present that you will, and then you don't.
Thank you, Tom.
I yield. Calm down.
Okay. Thank you. There's no disagreement, but let's not convict, because he wanted to offer an explanation, and sometimes there's circumstances. Tark, please go ahead, man.
No, what I'm saying, I was trying to explain before, Wizard got in his field like the usual, is I told him that I don't have any contracts with anybody. So the contribution I would do through the credit card is through somebody else. That means I have to contact that person, for example, and ask them to do it when they have time. And that's why sometimes, yes, sometimes I'm working every day, so sometimes I don't. They're busy and I'm busy. It's just a matter of time for me to do it. So I never in my life I paid full estate, and I paid them more money than I owe them. I don't know
You're always
anybody
doing
anything that I'm better on. The what?
Hey, I want to encourage you, my brother. Who's in charge of your schedule?
What are you talking to me?
Yeah, I want to remind you that you are in charge of your schedule. You choose
Yeah,
your
of course.
priorities. You choose what you get done, right?
No, of course, Jack. Of course. Yeah, but I can't get too much details how this works because I don't have any contract with anybody and I'm not on anything. So
Sorry.
I'll leave it at that. But I promise you, your $60 will come. So Wizard will finally just relax a little bit. Yeah.
Hey,
But I have a question for you, Jack. I have another question for you. I came on panel because I heard, maybe it's not true, and you tell me if it's true or not, that you gave Access Blood a wrench. The Satan worshiper that burned the Bible
yeah,
and put blood on it.
yeah. He has a wrench, and yes, he has done those things. Those are accurate and true. I understand the appearance. I have faith that he's processing things. He's on his own life path and his own life purpose, and he's never really been offensive towards me.
What kind of Satanist is he? There's several kinds.
Yeah, I
can't
get that.
specifically.
I get Brenda.
Most of
What
them,
I'm saying,
most of them are people
but-
just trolling. They're just trolling
Yeah.
on the internet. Most of them.
I get that, but this guy drinks a lot on thing, and then it's not one time it happened. He burned the
People
Bible.
here, there are
many
people
times.
here that drink a lot.
Yeah, but I'm talking about him burning the Bible and
Yeah.
putting blood on it and making ritual and
Nobody
calling
cares
Jesus' names and I
Nobody
hope
cares
you-
about
you
your
know, all kind of
precious book.
stuff.
Nobody cares
If
about your
you're
book.
interested, Brenda,
Yeah,
Jackson
it's not-
has a
it's not
channel
my
you can
book.
explore.
Well, it's the point is what Tarek is.
It
Yes.
just doesn't match to me because
Yes.
Jack is like all about Jesus. That's all I'm saying.
Tarek,
Yes, Noel.
why is people are trolls on here? It's really
Well, Noel, people do what they want to do, and there's a lot of people who haven't found a clear purpose for their time. So to kill time, they enjoy wrecking or creating havoc. That's why people do what they do. It's fun. And you know what? Being a human is supposed to be fun. What Tarek is pointing out, I get the appearance. Yes, I am a God-loving man. Yes, I honor and embrace the teachings of Christ, but I'm not like many of the religious. Kind of what Brenda said. I know many people who identify as Satanists. It's kind of it's a way of rebellion. Yet their hearts are actually more pure than the people who go sit in a building on Sunday, right? It's how
Well, there are
we
those. Yeah, there are those that they're called LaVeyan Satanists, and they follow Anton LaVey, and that's just Anton LaVey it's basically just libertarianism plus some mythology about Satan. That's basically it. And then there's the others that there are theistic Satanists who actually worship Satan, actually believe in a Satan, but most of them are sort of parody Satanists, and they're the ones who get like statues of Baphomet put into places and stuff, and they're basically trolling Christians. Is basically what they're doing. And I kind of like their sense of humor.
I can appreciate it. I can get it. The thing is, where I found myself though is truly with an absolute love and devotion for God, the mystery of I know it's within us all, the way of being with peace, with love, with inner knowing. It's available to us all, but we were born into a world of lies. And, the deceived raised the confused, and then the confused raised the deceived. It's been going on for a while. But I really do believe that we are the generation. And the time is now, it's coming soon. The lies, we can't keep accepting them, and we can't keep ignoring them. It's time for us to join together, to unite together for an intervention. I think it's time for an intervention here in Washington, D.C. Get the Democrats and Republicans, stop fighting, stop this stupid charade, fighting for power, insulting each other and the other.
I think we should fight. I think we should fight Trump.
Oh, God, no. Solo show, man.
I think you should, because he's doing things that I think are harmful.
Brenda,
Oh, for God's sake.
That's what people should do. If you think a politician is doing something you don't like, you should fight. And by that, I mean do things politically, make speeches, write letters, and vote. Right?
Mhm.
That's what I will do. I will not vote for Trump, and I do not identify with MAGA people because I think they're crazy, and I think Trump is deliberately destroying the United States. Is destroying our reputation, destroying our economy. Right? Yeah, he
You
hasn't
think
got a
Biden
clue.
did better? I'm just wondering.
Biden was 100 times better, but he's not running
Holy
again.
cow! I'm done. Go ahead. I yield.
Well,
Yeah, he was 100 times better.
here,
Okay.
part of this, they're both incompetent. Okay, Brenda, I actually agree
No, that's not true, because actually there's a way of measuring incompetence, and Trump is literally incompetent.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
there is. You
Fine.
can't just both
Fine.
sides everything. You
Brenda,
can't both sides everything.
what is real is real. I'm not going to pick sides and pretend that one side is better than the other. They both suck ass.
They don't, though.
Okay.
They don't both suck.
They don't. Okay.
Right? Yeah, they don't.
Tell you what,
There's a difference.
I don't want to convince you that one side sucks. We agree that the current is not acceptable. Is that right? We agree that
he's a fascist, and he's arresting people, pulling people off of the streets, sending people to concentration camps.
Yes, Brenda,
concentration camps.
I know.
Destroying the rule of law, destroying America economically.
Yes,
The entire world
yes.
thinks the United States is a laughingstock.
I agree. So I'm here in Washington, D.C., and that's exactly the man I want to talk to. Not to fight
Good
him.
luck.
I
Good
don't.
luck.
Well, I don't really need your luck, your criticism or approval, but if you got helpful ideas, let's see what we can do.
The best helpful idea was probably to where most people can have the most effect is in their local communities, and you should do things like if you're a member of a church or a pastor of a church, then you can help people around you, or if you're just a person, you can contribute to places like shelters and things like that, and you can just help people locally. Probably will do more than having to say a word with the Mad King.
Okay. And not trying certainly does nothing.
I think helping people locally is trying. That's trying.
Are you active in your community then, or is this just ideas for me?
I do things that when things are bad around me, I take actions. Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah. When people were smoking heroin outside of my door in my hall, I called the police. Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I did.
When
the working girls on another floor dragged one of their Johns into the alleyway, I called the police. Yeah,
that's so you're a snitch.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I suppose there's a place for snitches.
I'm not it's not. You think I'm a snitch because people who were doing crack or meth or heroin outside my hallway in my apartment building, I call the police on them? You think that's being a snitch? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Did you try talking with them?
Are you out of your mind?
Did you try talking
to some people who are actively smoking heroin?
What about people that actively lie?
building?
What about people that actively lie to everybody, telling them that they're female when they're in fact male?
I tell people I'm transgender.
Stop,
moron.
Right. We don't need to go in those.
Right. So there's. It seems weird to me. This is. You need to like work on your people around you. I'm getting pushback on the idea of telling the police about people who are actively using hard drugs, crack.
Brenda, I get it.
And stuff like that.
I find it hard to believe somebody calling in on a crack user when they're a liar.
Wizard.
I'm not a liar. You can cry about it, buddy. But
tell you what.
What do you got? You got nothing.
Brenda, please. I didn't mean to be insulting. Okay. And I didn't mean to diminish. I get
yes, I heard you ask for advice, and I gave you my honest advice, which is that people can have better influence locally rather than nationally. You have more power, more representation locally. That was my honest reply, and then I get all this bullshit from your clowns in here.
Calm down now.
Why should I calm down? You people mind your mouth. Watch your mouth.
Can you please take a breath? That's
how about Wizard? Watch his mouth.
I'm asking. He's silent right now. Okay. He wasn't saying a word.
Yes, he did. And I think I have a right to be upset and to express my being upset when people are assholes.
All right.
So you can try. Why don't you try that?
Can you stop being an asshole?
I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not being an asshole. I gave you good advice, and then I get bullshit.
Well,
and then I get transphobic hate.
Brenda,
that's bullshit.
Brenda, you've repeated this narrative multiple times.
It's not a narrative. It's what happened.
Brenda,
it's not a narrative.
You haven't allowed anything to be said. Would you please shut up? Okay. Brenda chose to leave rather than communicate.
They always do, Jack.
Well, please, you were kind of antagonizing a little bit.
No, I called out straight facts.
Hey, you called out facts that were actually a detraction from the point. But
well, let me ask you then, Jack. You abhor liars just as much as I do. Do you believe anybody that lies to you? I would certainly never believe anybody that lies on any issue, even if it is calling in crack users.
Here's the thing. I don't assume someone always lies. I don't assume someone is lying because I don't believe in liars. I believe that people say what's in their mind. They speak what they believe or what they feel, but people don't always speak accurately. And calling someone a liar, dude, dismissing what someone might say, that's foolish. Brother, I'm saying this because that's what a lot of people have done to me. They chose to live in this false reality where Jack is a liar, where I can't be trusted. They're fucking out of their minds, dude.
And why would you listen to somebody that continues to live in a false reality, claiming that they're female when they're male? That's the only thing.
Look, I don't really care. I really don't care about that aspect. I care that people are honest with me about the topics we're discussing. And I can tell when someone's being honest, typically. I mean, I'm not always right. I have been misled, but not for long. And in the topics of economics and spirituality, gender really doesn't play a big part, not in my opinion. I don't know.
No, I agree with Jack. We were talking about like, what's on your plate and what you can handle, and that's not what's on my plate is gender wars.
No.
I don't have that on my plate. I'm not handling that war. I don't know if you want to, El Diablo. Is that something you want on your plate? Is gender wars? It sounds like something doesn't even taste good. So think about that, brother.
No, I don't have that on my plate.
Oh, my bad.
I don't have that on my plate. No, at all.
It wasn't him.
Yeah, I thought it was.
like
I thought
steak
Wizard
and
came in
ribs and-
twice. I was like, is that the same person?
No,
El
yeah,
Diablo?
two different
Yeah.
ones.
That's right. Wizard does El Perro.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
my
just
bad. My
got here.
mistake.
Yeah, I just got here.
Yeah, you've been
I
quiet, El Diablo. How you doing today?
Hi, Jack. I'm doing very well. Brenda, don't be so upset. Nobody paid $50 to kick you off.
Right?
Somebody paid $50. They got upset yesterday and paid Jack $50 to kick me, and I wasn't upset about it. So,
No,
Brenda,
yeah.
just kind of take it in stride. I'm not sure what was said by El Perro. I just got here, but let's all try to get along. Sometimes
Amen.
El Perro Wizard can be difficult to get along with, but you know it.
Same with Jack.
Yeah, and Brenda sometimes I've seen her other places. She Brenda does like to stir it up a little bit on Z Show and Najaketa and stuff. So Brenda, you're not completely innocent.
She's pretty cool though. I have nothing against Brenda. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
The idea, the topic today, space to break from traditions. I encourage anyone who's willing, give that some thought. Break from traditions. Look at yourself, your own patterns, your own habits. We create these ruts, these traditions of who we are, what we're going to do. Well, part of growth is letting things go. And if we don't understand why we're doing something or we don't enjoy what we're doing, it's time to reevaluate. It's time for something new. Because new isn't always scary. It seems scary because it's unfamiliar, but what is new can be glorious. It can be better. That's what I had to learn about in the path of self-development, is that there's better available. There's always a way, and there's always another way, and there's always better. Those two things are pretty well guaranteed. At least that's been my experience. I'm trying to figure out, what does better mean? What direction does that mean? Where do I put my time and energy if I want better? Better what? Well, I want better joy, better health, better life, better love, better abundance, better all. It's all available. This is what I realized. My prayers as I've been driving down the road, in sincerity, it's gratitude. Thank you, God, for all I have received. For everything I want is already there. It's up to me to align myself with what I want. It's up to me to get myself to where what I want is going to be. And I don't always know. I don't know where my breakthrough is going to be. I don't know where my romance is going to be. But I know it's out there. And today is another day in history, brothers and sisters. I got to be part of history again today. And I think that's pretty cool. For me, it was at that little talk. I'm not going to play it. There's a bunch of people sitting around talking about politics and fixing the budgets. But life is happening every day, and wherever we go, we're part of the history of that moment, of that place. We're all sharing history together. There's a lot of background people in our day-to-day, a lot of passers-by that we'll never meet. We'll never even exchange words with them, but they're part of this. Maybe they're the ones working on the power that keeps your house going. Maybe they're the ones working on the sewer that keeps your pipes going, right? We're all playing a part in this greater society. In the greater society is playing a part in mankind's history. So we are the history of today. Brothers and sisters, congratulations to you. We made it.
I got a tough question for you, Jack.
Please.
So what happens if you start this, it's all in motion, and they listen to you in Congress, but they give Donald Trump the credit? How would you take that?
I'd be glad. I don't care. Yeah, I just want it done.
Absolutely. See, that's the message. It's not about the name. It's not about the messenger. It's about the message. And in that message, we have to be careful of the language and its connotations.
Hey, and actually what you just asked, it's kind of why I want to speak to Donald Trump. I'd love to help him receive the credit. I'd love to support him through, what could be done, these possibilities of negotiating peace and reform, complete independence and redesign of the monetary system. So the federal debt is wiped out so that the international war, the climate de-escalates. I'd love to help Donald Trump become a fucking hero, greater than he is, But how do I get the ideas to him? That's where we're at. But what a game. What a game God has created us. This game of life, I feel my life is just getting started. It required me to lose everyone and everything that I was attached to in order to realize I could do that. But you guys don't have to. You don't have to walk away. You don't have to step away from everyone you love. You don't have to run away from your job. But you can start a new life today.
What if they all run from you, Jack?
Accept it.
And you guys know I'm not talking about Jack. I'm talking about me.
Brother, we got to accept that. But here's what I figured too, Wizard. You are much like me in your devotion, right? Your devotion to God and to Scripture is very clear, undeniable. So it makes sense that you're going to be tested, just like me. Those who devote themselves to God, the devil's going to come out of the woodwork. The darkness is going to be faced. Why? Because God wants the strong. God wants the wise. God wants those who are prepared to lead. And I believe that's what we're doing. We've been prepared, all of us, in our own unique ways. Our lifetimes have been preparing us to become greater, to become leaders in our own ways towards our own destinies. But if we start truly becoming leaders, we serve those around us. And as we serve those around us, leading each other, leading ourselves towards the greater destiny, man, we're going to transform this world so quickly. It's going to be glorious, magnificent. It's going to be so much fun, too, along the way. Because God
glorious and magnificent. I'm sorry for jumping in, but
Oh, go ahead.
it is all happening now, and that's what people need to get on board with this message that it's happening now. And a lot of this bickering, some people are paying attention, I can see in the chat. I'm not worried about the chat too much, but I do hope that people listen to the message and let it sink in, because once you do that, you'll start understanding instead of all these petty disagreements.
And though things might be good, we have to understand there's always a balance, particularly in the nature of all things. That when things are good and they seem to be getting better and better, there's a balance that things are going to get worse too. So it's, again, a matter of what we were talking about earlier, perspectives.
Well, I'm here, El Piero, for balance, by the way, Wizard, because I represent the dark forces, the devil, as El Diablo, and God sent me here with my horns and my double halo. I'm 2 in 1. I'm an angel and a devil. I'm both.
Holy gosh. Hey,
You guys pay attention to what he just said, though. It's very important. Satan was a devil, or was a angel first.
no.
Yes. You see my halo. I have a double halo.
Well, this is the thing. We're all built that way. We can all stay on the side of the fallen, where we perpetuate wars and battles against each other. That's one way to live. I've lived that way, and I didn't really enjoy it. I mean, I had fun, but I didn't, because I was miserable and I was just kind of escaping. But kind of gambling and the prostitution and all that stuff, there was fun in there, not gonna lie. But holy shit.
Oh, Jack, I didn't know you were a prostitute. Did you just say prostitution?
I was a consumer.
Oh, okay. You didn't prostitute yourself. Okay, I was.
Well,
He gobbled.
kind of. I mean, I was in it for the material, for the physical.
Did you do that too, Wizard? Did you chime in? I heard you a second ago.
No, I said he said he's a consumer. He gobbled.
He gobbled.
Just being funny, though.
Okay.
The point is, I explored my sinful nature. I explored my lustful nature. I've explored many aspects to this life. I am addicted to exploring the divine nature, right? The true devotion, surrender, and seeking of inner experience, inner relationship with God, with the divine. It's addictive. I encourage you to try it.
Well, that was part of your path, and now you're on the divine path, right?
Yes.
So that's just part of the path. God does put temptations in front of us. A lot of times, I think, in this world, there is a lot of temptation, but we go through it, and then we learn from it and move on. Just because somebody was experimented in something, or may have, I don't know, snorted cocaine or something like that at one point, doesn't mean that they're gonna do that for life. It doesn't mean that they're always going to be that way. We can grow spiritually and move on in our path, but there are temptations in the world, and I think it's important to acknowledge that as people, that there are temptations here, but we don't need to fall prey to them. We can always keep moving forward. And Jack's life is actually, how would you put it? It's a model of that. It's showing us that.
Yes. My life, man, it's one for the books. I'm telling you, there's something going on in my life, and you guys have been a part of it. So I'd encourage you to wonder, what is special? What is going on? Because I'm confident the world is going to change. My life, I've said this a long time ago, and it's not egoic, it's just recognizing the patterns. I was kind of smart, and I'd figure things out a little more quick than some of the other kids. And it's like I've been blessed with opportunities and time to learn, so I did. And I learned quickly. And so I figured a lot of things out. And I've been watching the world. You know, the world is making things more difficult, not just for me, but for everyone. And so if I'm right, then this is real. And this live without fear is a message from God. And I am a man, self-chosen, self-identified, but I'm here to share the truth of God's love. I'm a messenger of peace, right? And I believe it's time for mankind to create new ways as leaders. We are leaders. We are strong enough. We are wise enough to create new ways better than the past. There's many ways to execute this. A call for convention, right? Creating a constitutional committee, putting it together. We can, the key is it's time for a review and an audit and more oversight on the government. Allegedly, that's what Donald Trump is doing with Elon Musk and the Doge outfit. So there's other ways to do it rather than the radical, bullish way that Donald Trump and Musk are doing these things. And I'd love to be a part of this. We're coming up almost on 3 hours, though, so I think it's time to start wrapping it up.
Perfect,
Oh,
Jack.
wow.
I think
This has been a long stream.
I think you should start the DOT, Department of Talcott. I think that'd be great.
DOT.
Yeah, more prayers to you, Jack, and your endeavors and changing values for Congress. More prayers to your successes, dude. I think that's awesome. I think you had a successful stream today. If I could do a shout out to my
Great.
channel,
Yes.
if you don't mind, it's Philip YT on YouTube. I'll be starting streams talking about knowing your enemy. You know, I'm a Christian. I want to do research on atheists. I want to explore their ideas and why they're atheists and why they converted. I want to explore more people and their ideas. So everybody's potentially my enemy out there or my friend. So if you're interested in those ideas and exploring those ideas and having conversations about people and ideas, check out my channel. Other than that, Jack Talcott, prayers, brother. You're doing great.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome, my friend.
I posted the link and I did it to the back. So there we go. Now it's in the main chat.
Thank you for entertaining my $5 worth of questions. And we'll see you in Congress, Jack.
God bless you, brother. Thank you.
God
It's
bless.
great to see you again. Peace.
Thank you. Peace.
And you know me too, Jack. Be blessed.
Much love, my friend. Peace and blessings to you, brother. Noel, any thoughts from you, my friend? Whoops. Sorry. I muted you. Or you're muted.
Yes, I hope you talk to Donald Trump, and I hope things really good for you, Jack.
Thank you, Noel.
Welcome.
I appreciate it. Have a beautiful evening, my friend. Blessings to you. Steven, El Diablo, what do you thought?
Hello. Am I still live? Is this live?
You are.
Oh,
it is.
Okay. You can hear me.
Yeah.
All right. I do have a new channel as well. El Diablo Radio International channel. I'm not sure if anybody here is interested, maybe not, but I present a different view, and I think that we are in a realm of duality, good and evil, and that's why I have the horns and the halo. I'm duality. I'm kind of an angel and a devil in one. Somebody said to me a few years ago that she said, Stephen, you're an angel with a pitchfork. And I think that she meant that I look angelic, but I have a pitchfork, and sometimes I poke people a little bit with it. But I try to be kinder and gentler. And Jack, I'm learning a lot from being on your channel. I've only been here, I think, less than a year. I think it's been less than a year. But I've been tuned in almost every day. And I've missed a few days here and there, but I'm really enjoying your mission. And I think that you're very dedicated and devoted to what you're doing in your pursuit, and that you're someone who believes, has faith in God more than just belief. You have faith in God and love and living without fear. And you're very dedicated to meeting Trump and to making these changes. And I think that these naysayers maybe should just hold back on attacking you without knowing what you're talking about. And also, I hope people stop attacking Jack on things of the past and just obsessing over them. I don't think that's healthy. Whether it's Snafu or others, I don't think that's a healthy thing to do. I hope you get a good rest today, and I hope you have a great day. And God bless you, Jack Talcott, and in profound ways and on your endeavors. I hope that you have the best endeavors in Washington that can be had. And God bless everyone here, and God bless America. Take care.
Much love. Peace to you. And sincerely, brothers and sisters, to all of you. To all of you who join the panel, who tune in at a later time, who've been with me through the adventures today. God bless. God bless us all. I sincerely appreciate everything. Today, this is part of my update, part of my record. In the description is a link to this stream where Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries live on the steps of the Capitol. They got there at 6 in the morning. I got there around 12:30, and I think I left around 2:45. So I was there for a couple of hours and listened to the speeches. I tried getting my name in the list for an opportunity to speak, but by the time I got there and made that connection, they'd already grown the list, and they had a lot of senators and elected officials showing up. So it was a pretty cool thing. Anyway, for those interested, go ahead if you're into the politics thing, check it out, see what I'm referring to and what's going on there. The topic today, though, and with the thumbnail, the space to break away from traditions, particularly in line with the traditions of economics, the traditions of politics. I encourage you, don't allow economics and politics to destroy your friendships, to break up your family. It really is the religion of money. And money is a tool. But people let tools and beliefs and all sorts of things, they use them as excuses for division. And divided, you feel strong, you feel independent, but the reality is you're not. In my own personal experience, I have been walking with love. It took me a while to realize this is what I was doing, and then I started intentionally walking with love, allowing love to lead me. It started out, I was moving based kind of on fear, but kind of out of love. But where I got my strength was from the love I knew. What gave me power when I first flew to Washington, D.C., the idea of trying for a promotion and trying to create a better life for me and my family, it was my family. It was love that drove me. Love that drove me forward to do all the good things. And it was my thoughts where I believed I had an absence of love, and the thoughts of the absence of love is what drove me to drink. It's no excuse. It was the excuse I chose, right? I chose to drink myself and, eat myself and distract myself. I chose to deny myself because I felt unworthy of love. I was unworthy of love because I wasn't honest with myself. And when I became honest with myself, I realized I had nobody to blame. Nobody to blame. Blame does nothing. So when I stopped blaming and I stopped worrying and I stopped hating, guess what I found? Oh, baby, I found love and joy and gratitude, and all those things bring happiness. Did you know happiness is free? Doesn't cost a thing. It can even be shared. Brothers and sisters, I hope by tuning in today with me, I hope you found some joy. I hope you found some happiness, some peace, maybe a little encouragement and inspiration. Regardless, you're here. If you haven't done so yet, do the subscribe thing. And I encourage you, be the one to invite others to check it out. Be the one to invite others, right? To share the good news that there's this crazy dude named Jack Talcott. He's talking about peace and ending wars and ending debts and all this love and light and God and stuff. But if it comes true, man, if it comes true, peace upon the world, we will hear heaven coming to the world. It's coming. I can feel it. Brothers and sisters, stay tuned and we'll see what the future brings. Till next time, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless you and me, and peace.